And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski on this surprising, impulsive Wednesday. Politics 101. You just never know who's going to show up. Because we started off with Boniface Mwangi, then he walked off because Moses Kuria, Gatunde South Member of Parliament, walked on. Wow! I thought Moses Kuria is the one who usually walks off sets. But I guess he doesn't have the patent on that. Tweets coming in very thick, very fast. We're still talking. Go on.
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism, yes.
Is the best form of flattery.
Plagiarism?
Is the best form of flattery.
There you go. There you go. I thought it was imitation, but you know, I'll take yeah. Mohammed T. Dida, he says, the walkout by Boniface is highly telling of his approach to issues, impulsive rather than reflective.
Oh, Mohammed, wisdom will kill you.
And then someone else says, I owe Boniface an apology because I didn't tell him you were coming. I didn't know you were coming. Did you? Were you?
No, but as an African man, which credible African man would see two friends sitting together having a good conversation and walk away? See, irresponsible. To say the least.
I think he shouldn't have walked away, but you know that. Oh my God. Look,
I think you are too much. This is too much for a night.
It's too much for one night. Look who's just come on.
No, what is this? No.
Oh no. What is this? Wapi, Mike, are you kidding me? Were you watching TV and decided to come on? Hold on. Don't answer yet. Don't answer yet. Dennis Itumbi, the director of digital diaspora at State House. Dennis, were you watching TV? Did you see the circus?
Ah, well, I'm surprised. What does Moses do to people? I want to see what he has. But you know, this walkout thing is something that Moses also knows.
Yes, I was just telling Moses he's the expert on walking out. He has walked out on a bunch of shows.
No, but you know, in the Bible,
go on.
There's no book called Moses, but Moses has a book. It's called the Exodus.
But Dennis, honestly,
yes, sir.
What did you think of the walk? I'm sure you were watching on TV or wherever you were. You must have seen Boniface walk out the moment this man walked in, and he was walking in to say hello.
It was amazing to see Team Courage become Team Coward. And you see, when people walk out from the issues they seek to walk in town about tomorrow, and he has walked from Kisumu to Nairobi, it's a contradiction of terms, philosophy, and life. You must be able to face the people with whom you have issues with. I think it's absolutely ridiculous when people are discussing national issues, when people are glued to watch facts, issues. State of corruption is a hashtag. People are discussing a serious issue
that affects us all.
You want to create a sideshow. And not more than that, you want to create another bigger sideshow, which you have already circulated graphics all over social media saying, resign, or we kick you out, you know, we have this. The walkout is a demonstration that he has not even read the interim draft audit report that he seeks to demonstrate about tomorrow. His first tweet about this matter was that he was going to demonstrate to force out the CS and the PS out of the ministry and to pass a message to the presidency on what they should do. Now, Jeff, I heard when I was coming here, you asked Moses, was this story a lie? It was not only a lie, it was a fabrication, a creation done in the laboratory of newsrooms.
No, come on.
Look.
You're saying that business, and by the way, he said that. He said he will resign if this story becomes a true story.
No, look at this, Jeff. Number one, supplementary estimates which did not meet requirements for supplementing a program's budget. I am a member of the budget committee. This is what I'm saying. So what is audit report should be directed at me as a guy who approved this budget in the budget committee. So what is it? That's why I'm saying I'm ready to resign, because I've got my footprint onto this document, and so is my chairman Mutapa Musimi,
okay,
and so is the MP for the chairman of ODM. John Buddy, who is my junior in the business school of the University of
Have you seen these documents? Have you seen this?
Yes, I've gone through this document.
This is what you're telling us you went through?
I went through this one, and I asked myself, if this is what is called an audit report, there's one guy called Professor Andy Nzomo, who taught me and the chairman of ODM, John Buddy, was my junior in school, about accounting 101 and about all these processes. That's not what I was taught, that this can become an audit issue.
Dennis, real quick, you were saying this was hatched in a newsroom. Is this malice? Is this mischief? What is this?
This audit report starts with the words ongoing audit review. Then it goes at the end and says, has revealed pertinent issues on the following procurements and payments, which raises red flags on possible fraud. It doesn't say that once, it repeats it very many times, possible fraud. It even concludes by saying, the sample covered is an indicator of a wider scheme where the ministry could have. Where did the ministry get scammed?
Let me borrow this. This is how fraudulent this is. Among the payees is, look at this payment. Gazette Limited is the company that handles subscriptions for nation newspapers. 2,678,000 was fraudulently transferred to Nation Media Group, where Business Daily belongs. So they are part of the scam.
So there is a scam.
If there's a scam, if you have to believe that, this payment is to Nation.
Yeah, who's this report by? Ministry of Health, internal audit. This is the internal audit report.
Absolutely.
It is an internal audit by the ministry itself.
Yeah. And what's supposed to happen is that I can't say anything about you. But in all fairness, I give you a chance to say, now this is what I have found. Please explain. Nobody was, can you imagine the innocent souls at Abbey House who got these issues for the first time?
What about those names mentioned in the paper then? All those individuals who have been mentioned and companies.
Give me a name. Don't even go.
The president's family.
Let me talk about the president's family. You know, I happen to be the MP for the president.
You are.
The president's mother, who is my constituent and my voter, has got 50 siblings. 50. Each of them has at least 5 children. So the president's cousins, for example, are very minimum 250. So you want to say that 250 people, one, they cannot do business in this country. Two, they need to line up somewhere in State House to receive state dole and be fed by the president. Number three, that the president needs to be responsible for all of them. What is this? I'm not talking about Mombasa or Morang, I don't know. I'm talking about my own constituency.
What about preferential treatment then?
Prove it. If he who alleges must prove. That's a no dictum of law.
Let me actually also address something around that. The nutrition of foods was brought in because 750,000 Kenyans who were suffering from HIV and drought had come in, were facing lack of food, imports that supplement their nutrition. 750,000 Kenyans needed urgent relief, Jeff. So a tender was put out in the newspaper. 3 of them, people applied. 10 companies applied for that particular job that was won on what you have asked. Out of those 10, preliminary review was done, which is the first step when you do a tender. Then after that, you do a technical evaluation, and after that, a financial evaluation. Out of those 10, 3 of them made up to the last stage of the financial evaluation, which was to say, I can actually do this business and give the money that is required to do this business, demonstrate you can be able to. So out of the 3 that remained, what you would consider is the most technically sound with the lowest bid.
So no preferential treatment?
No preferential treatment. It was won on a fair basis. But even more than that, the other issue that has come up is that clinics, and I heard you ask Moses, clinics were brought in, and that there was no disaster for that to be effected in budget. Now, this is a letter dated 14th March 2016, signed by Francis Anyona, who is the Director of Budget. He says, the National Treasury has granted approval for additional funding to the ministry for payment of outstanding civil works at Nanyuki District Hospital. Now, Nanyuki District Hospital, this 200 million was not paid to do the hospital, was paid because they went to court. Some people who were given a design by their former Minister for Health, Professor Anyang Nyong, to do a design, not to build the hospital. They costed 200 million. Note, modernization of Ramu County Referral Hospital, it was being modernized because after the terror attack, people killed and died as they were waiting for theater. These people, to modernize it, has cost 100 million. Not the difference, 100 million, but the design approved by that minister costed 200 million. Jeff, this is a government that cares for the people of this country and responds to their needs.
So, bottom line, why do you think the story was written? Bottom line, in your opinion?
The media needs to sell papers. They need to sell a story. This was unprofessional conduct by the media. It was actually, it is against the professional media code of ethics. which dictates that one, you cannot record me without disclosing that you're recording me. It is a clear provision. And you see, this girl went into a lunch and just basically switched on a recorder and did not disclose that he was recording. And it was not investigative journalism. It was a question for an answer. And then he used that as a quote. Even you, when you worked for CNN, and I've worked for Voice of America, that would warrant an immediate audit and sacking. You start an audit and then you sack.
You're out.
Not only that, finally, on that professional behavior by a journalist, here is a journalist who was engaged in a personal matter, and that is how the lunch happened on a public holiday.
Because she was looking for help for a family member who was in hospital and she needed...
Yes, and she needed some help, which was granted. But that particular journalist did not disclose that. In law, if a judge has either direct or indirect interest, they recast themselves, they withdraw. And that is what happened in this particular case. I can see sound...
It's okay.
In this particular issue, the journalist would have recused because of their direct interest and withdrawn from this case.
And this is a man who's on the board of the ICT, or not the board, the committee. Yes.
And I'm going to take this issue to its logical conclusion. Not for fighting the media, but to uphold media freedom. Because unless we can be able to show in this country that we can be able to trust media, so that when you see something on the headline, you take it to the bank, you take it at face value,
Yes.
you don't have to probe it further. Because when these things happen, people will be saying, wait a minute, hiyo ni ya ukweli ama sio ukweli? That's not good for the media in this country. So to be able to uphold media freedom, I'll call Nation Media Group to Parliament, to my parliamentary committee. I'll call that journalist, I'll call that auditor, I'll call that PS who was having lunch on a public holiday. I'll want to know whether they had relationship, maybe romantic or otherwise, with that media person. I'll get to the bottom of this matter to be able to show that tomorrow, when my grandmother sees something in the media, she takes it at face value and has no reason to probe it or to doubt it.
Okay.
I think by doing that,
yes,
I'll not be fighting media, I'll be upholding media freedom.
The rest of us who have jumped on the story, let's say the other newspapers, the other media houses, what happens to them?
Just say mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa.
Dennis, bottom line. Bottom line,
this first of all, this audit, in the audit that the media used, the total calculation of the figures is actually 3.2 billion. The media crafted a figure called 5 billion. In my basic mathematics in primary school, not even in high school, basic mathematics in primary school, when you want to round off a figure, there is absolutely no way 3.2b will ever be 5b. It can only come down to 3b. But that said, and the creation ignored, this audit, even taken at face value, raises 26 issues. I won't go through this, Jeff.
Don't.
But I will go on my Facebook Live button and I will address each of these issues that have been raised here because they are not true.
Is there any fraud? Is there any fraud? Bottom line.
This is it. The internal audit, if you are discussing the media coverage, the internal audit does not raise any fraud. Maybe there is fraud like the internal auditor does. But the media, because the issue is possible fraud. So if at the end of investigation, fraud is found, let the people who are culpable pay for it. But if including Moses Kuria resigning, yes. But if there is no fraud, will the media, for instance, will KTN, will Nation, will Standard go back and say, we got it wrong, it is not a scandal, it is not system Yamajambas.
Yes, exactly.
You know, those kind of things, will they be able to go back? And this is the thing that has been sustained for a long time. One day, Jeff, you called me. We had just gotten, at State House, there was a big story, PSU disbanded, and people were relying on a source.
Yes.
And that anonymous source they did not disclose.
No.
Again, the media the next day, they say it's sustained, but they did not give a single letter of who was fired. No evidence was tabled.
And no apology.
And no apology. It is a consistent way that we are creating a media that no longer values ethics, no longer has any values on itself. It is a media that we are creating a new age journalism that cares that is armchair, that is driven by absolute malice, and in this case, driven by, you have a document on your hand, but you prefer to create.
And there's no second source.
And there's no second source.
Which is the cardinal rule of journalism.
Exactly.
Bottom line.
And they say, a list of firms that receive what they say is the maternity money, or 5 of them. Just a casual look at them, there are only 4. What for Dentment Kenya, for Life Care, for Liavo, for Sadness, the damage caused online is irreversible. In fact, I'm sure Christian Dell has been watching this, and I'm sure he will be giving a proposal to these companies for a search engine optimization, because now their search engine optimization is completely destroyed.
Good point. Final word there. Final word, Mheshimiwa. Since you walked in and then he walked in, I'll give you the final word.
I think we're destroying this country. I think we're destroying the fight against corruption when we muddle truth with falsehoods. I think we need to have a due process in this country. And you know, I was trained as an accountant. I don't know any other way of doing things except due process. That when you audit me, give me a chance to respond. Because you're not auditing in good faith. Maybe there's something you say, maybe this here, but there could be a flag. When I explain to you, you say, that's what's happened. Maybe 1, 2, 3. Maybe the story will turn out to be different. Now, my question is, if we have this process of fighting corruption in this country, and tomorrow there happens to be real corruption, who is going to believe you? You know that story about this boy who was saying there's a leopard,
Yes.
which is coming to eat him up.
Wolf, yes.
Yeah, he was crying wolf all the time. Then when the wolf came, there was no one for him. And this is what is going to happen to corruption in this country.
And the lynch
when you
mob
allow
mentality.
the Mucheres of this world, when you allow nation media groups of this world to run amok on things that are not there, when the actual corruption happens, there will be no one for this country, except me and you, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Jeff, let me say this. One time, God had a discussion with Sodom and Gomorrah, and he had a discussion with Abraham. And this is what he started by saying. Then the Lord said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. Abraham responded, and remember this was Sodom, and said, but God, if there are 50 righteous people there, will you spare the town? God said, yes, if there are 50, I will spare Sodom for their sake. Abraham continued pleading. He went to 40, he went to 30, and finally he said, please, God, because I've been so bold to speak to you, Lord, what if only 20 can be found there? God said, for the sake of 20, I will not destroy it. The worst thing we can do to innocent men, we would rather send 10 guilty, we would rather have one innocent person more than punish guilty men. In fact, they say a rumor travels miles more as truth ties the shoelaces. And finally, I'll say this. I'll finish with the words of Paul in his words to the church in Ephesians, in chapter 4 and verses 25. This is what Paul says. Therefore, putting away lies and falsehood, let us speak truth to one another, because we are members of one another. God bless you and keep you.
The words of Pastor Dennis Itumbi. Good grief. What
Amen.
is this? You're quoting Sodom, Gomorrah's, Paul, Ephesians?
And it is the reverse. God said he would save 50 if they were found righteous. President Uhuru Kenyatta has taken the podium many times and said if he finds 50 who are guilty of corruption, he will fire them. And he has fired 175. If he finds 100, he will fire them. If he finds one clean, he will serve in his government.
By the way, Dennis, you have a standing invitation to walk on this show anytime you want, okay? Anytime. All right.
Thank you very much.
Because, you know...
I hope I have a standing invitation to walk out of this show. Me and Bonnie Mwangi.
I was about to say, Mheshimiwa, thank you for not walking out.
No, I would toast. I would toast to Bonnie Mwangi.
This is the very first time
scam.
JKL has had 2 guests we didn't advertise all day. Because you're not really guests.
And can you tell Boniface Mwangi something?
Go on.
Mr. Boniface Mwangi, I wish you the best in tomorrow's demonstration. I prayed that you were going to have a peaceful demonstration, and I hope that you're going to get the best protection from our police force so that you can know that our police force are actually friends. And we pray that you're going to...
In the name of community policing, even me and you have a role. So if it's not peaceful, I'll swing in.
I urge you, Mr. Boniface, to please demonstrate in the interest of Kenyans, not in the interest of the donor funding. And I'll be posting on my Twitter timeline the latest proposal you have written to the Dutch government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that you can get financed.
Being financed by George Soros and Open Society?
Yes.
On that note,
Good grief.
what a show. Keep tweeting at Honorable Moses _Kuria, at Dennis Ole Itumbi, at Ole Itumbi, at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag state of corruption. You simply cannot make this stuff up. I tell you, I don't know what we're going to do next week. But in the meantime, tomorrow night, right here on JKL, on Inspiration, Thursday, you're going to meet an incredible young lady. Her name is Wangu Kanja. She was gang raped and carjacked about 14 years ago.
I know her very well.
You know her?
Oh, very well.
And then she's formed her own foundation.
Yeah.
And she's helping women who are victims of sexual abuse. Oh, incredible story.
You know, how Wangu Kanja has come through. You know, remember she was working for a company known as Dial-A-Cab, those years.
Yes.
15 years ago, she was my friend. It's an incredible story of how she overcame.
Moses Kuria pledged something to the foundation.
100,000 on me.
Oh my goodness.
I will add 50,000 on that.
Oh, Wangu Kanja, she hasn't even come on the show. You have 150,000. Can I have some money? Can I have a loan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good luck. God bless. Gentlemen.